We are live. So goodness knows about it. Well, no, I don't. I think it shows up when people join in, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think so. I'm just looking at. Is there like a list of people? There will be somewhere, won't there?
Should be.
Sure.
What can you see? Can you see stuff on the sides? Or?
Yeah, I've got private chat and comments. I'll keep the comments up, and then if anybody asks any questions, we can answer them, can't we?
Yeah. Sounds good. Awesome.
Yeah, so, on the screen, I haven't got any info about who's there or whatnot. I'll just rely on you guys. Oh, there you go.
Hey, that's me. That's me with the power of the world. Hey.
Good grief.
Hey. It's amazing. Right, everyone. I suppose you could leave that one up for a bit.
Yeah.
I had last time actually when I could see the comments.
So, Martin, have you had any snow in Scotland then?
Yeah, no, there has been. There's still loads on the hill. Tons of snow on the hill. Like yeah, it's warmed up the past couple of days. So the past couple of days, it's no longer freezing at night. So that's something. And today and yesterday, it's been double figures. So I think it's supposed to stay double figures now. So the snow can bugger off. So I'm totally fed up of snow. Here we go. Jess has joined us. How's it going, Jess? So yeah, there's still some snow on the hills. Thankfully, no snow down here. But yeah, it's still not. It's nowhere near as nice as it is where Simon is, though. No, 25 degrees. You're complaining of a wee bit of rain, Simon. You've got 25 degrees, and you've got. I'm sure that tan's out of a bottle.
It's sponsored by Soul Glow, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
I say that to be among friends.
Yeah, somebody forgot to tell the British weather that it's May time, haven't they?
I know, it's been ridiculous, isn't it? It's been really rubbish.
It snowed on my hill reps the other day, like proper snow, and I was like, what is going on? Because we're not even in Scotland or that high up, you know. It was just on like one of the normal roads. So I wasn't on top of like Great Whernside or anything. It was just above my house. Shocking.
Right. No, I saw a fair few pictures on Instagram with loads of snow on the tops, and you've been posting loads of pictures on your Instagram about your Adidas shoes, haven't you?
Yeah, I just got them in, so I've been testing. I'm trying to just push out everything I review now, so they're pretty good, to be honest. I like them. Yeah, it's nice to try something a bit different, but I think they've made like a good range, that Terex range. I've been impressed, to be honest.
Right,
they fit my feet as well. I've got really thin feet, so anything that fits my feet's good. Yeah, that's half the battle, isn't it?
Yeah, well, a lot of the time there's loads of shoes for wide feet, but not so many for narrow feet, is there?
No, and I like a bit of cush these days as well. I like a trail shoe with some cushioning. So
yeah.
I'm fed up with just like, you'll need some where you are, Simon, won't you? Jeez.
What's that?
Cushioning.
It's
in your shoes.
It's rock hard and everything's big and gnarly, and you know. There's no pebbles when you're running on the trails here. It's just crazy, and it's more toe protection, to be honest, because you know what it's like, you guys, when you punt something that you weren't expecting to punt, so to speak, and it takes you by surprise. And some of the rocks are pretty big out here. So I actually lost my middle toenail on my right foot. I had to go to the doctors and have that taken off a couple of weeks. Just after the last race, actually, because it was just getting. Beyond a joke, it was just from kicking the rocks and stuff, and it was quite painful. So that came off, and it's a lot better now. It's antibiotics, the usual stuff. But
taken off.
Have you had it removed like permanently then, Simon, or is it just like removed?
Yeah, it could grow back, but it had just gone that black and cracked. To be honest, it's my own fault. I've kind of been putting it off and sort of bathing it and thinking it'll go away and running on it. And then you know what it's like. The race that I did a couple of weeks ago was pretty hard. It was with the altitude, with the ascent and the descent, and on the descent it was really hurting. So I nipped the doctor the next day, and he sort of looked at it and said, "Right, we're going to have to take your leg off at the knee," sort of thing. And yeah, he just the best thing to do is just whip it off, and it could grow back. And as soon as he did it, literally half an hour later, the pain and the swelling in the toe had started to subside. So yeah, it was my own fault for not acting quicker, to be honest. But it was definitely from kicking things that I shouldn't have been kicking on the trail. Just one of those things, just not paying attention when you're a little bit tired.
Yeah. How you doing, Chris? Chris from That Running Guy, he has joined us as well.
Chris.
So, well, you've started us off there, Simon, with, I was going to say, what have you guys been up to? So, you've been racing, haven't you? So what sort of race did you do? An actual in-person live race?
Yeah, it's really strange, but really, I kind of forgot what to do. And also, there's all the restrictions that they really had dialed with the COVID, with the masks, the social distancing, setting us off in groups of 10 at minute intervals. But it was just nice to be with other runners and get the vibe of running through the arch at the start and the finish, the music going, the guy on the PA system. It was limited to 200 athletes, and it was cut down from a half marathon to 16K again because it went through another village that was just on the edge of one of the territories here, which at that particular point we weren't allowed to cross. So they had to bring it within the territory of Azona where I live. But yeah, it was really good. If anything, conscious of what we've just been talking about, it was ridiculously wet and really, really hard going. The descents, skis would have been better. It was literally just head down and go and slide and yeah. And it made the 16K feel a lot further. But the whole experience of actually racing with real people and pinning on a race number was
it must be really good again.
Brilliant. Yeah.
And how close together were you? Or was it, when you say, I don't know, how far apart were you when you started off?
So basically what they did, they held you went in your race number order, and you were held in a holding pen. You were called on a tannoy 1 to 10. You went into the first pen and you were told to be distanced. Then you went into a second pen where there was markers on the floor because it started on tarmac in a small village. And then you had to keep your mask on until you ran underneath the inflatable to get out onto the course. But you started off, you were distanced by 2 meters by the markers on the floor. So 5 each side you went, and then the next group came along. So there was a minute intervals between 10 groups of 10 leaving for the start.
Yeah. And
then as soon as you arrived and you went under the inflatable, you just put your mask back on again, and then you were good to go.
So you didn't feel as if you were in a big crowd at any point? Because that will feel
really. I mean, it's big out here anyway. I mean, you know, it was in the base of the Pyrenees, so the course was pretty open and pretty spaced out. You never felt like you were in any risky situation. And to be fair, the organisers, they've organised a lot of races over the years, and they were really switched on with mass and temperatures. Well, when you went through to get to the point where they put you in the actual start, you were zapped with the temperature gun as well. So even right up to leaving, you were made sure that you were, you know, all within the limits of being safe.
So Simon, how does it work with kind of like the groups that you're in? Do they set people off just randomly together, or do they kind of like look at your times that you've done before and set you off in kind of like groups of people that are of similar ability, and how do you know where you are in the race?
Well, that's quite interesting. I mean, this was a relatively local race, so it had timing chips on the bibs. So as soon as you went over the mat, your time was logged. You started going. Obviously, you've got the watch to sort of work out your sort of pace, etc. There's a race that I'm doing in 3 weeks' time, which is a sky race, which is in Valdenuria, which is going to start differently. So this race, Ben, was started 1 to 10, 11 to 21, and then so on and so forth in groups of 10. But the one that we're going into in the sky race is being started in category order. So from the youngsters right up to the old gits like me, you know. So you go in your categories. So you probably even more spaced out, if I'm honest, on the actual route. That's half marathon, that one. So
sounds a good idea though, doesn't it? Because at least you know then who you're kind of racing within your category as well.
Yeah, I prefer that, to be honest, because I didn't realise when I got back, I actually came 5th in my category in this local one. But like you say, I knew what my times were doing. And then with the state of the course was just being chopped up and was really slippy because we'd had an unbelievable storm overnight. And then the time sort of went a bit erratic because you were using the ropes to descend some of the steeper descent, so you were kind of losing a bit there. And in the end, I just thought, and the river crossings were bonkers because there was that much water coming off the mountains that they had two guys in dry suits either side of the water, and they'd rigged a rope on the two rope crossings that basically put on almost like a Via Ferrata quick harness, clicked in and went across. So you were held up a little bit with things like that, but they got it dialed, so it was pretty cold as well. So.
I have to say, from my experience of running in Spain for in 2019, I love the fact that there's less health and safety on the routes than there is in England. Honestly, like some of the stuff we're running up and down was ridiculous, but I loved it. Like you were just coming off sheer cliff faces, or like you say, wading across rivers, or just running on some really like angry terrain.
Well, there was two descents where they'd rigged up ropes, Ben. The first one was okay because it was about 12 mil rope, so you could get hold of it and go down. The second one, which was the steepest bit, must have been 3 or 4 mil. So it was a case of either run down and take your chances or grab hold of the rope and lose 4 of your fingers. So,
like cheese wire, yeah.
It was exactly like that. So I was just like, it was fun, it was great. But yeah, the times were very, very erratic.
Chris has put down here in the comments he can't wait for his first race since March 20. He's running that St. Albans half marathon on the 13th of June, and he's so excited. I thought you did an ultra not long ago, Chris. Did you not do a 50k not long ago?
Good luck, Chris, for that one.
Yeah.
Nice getting back to it, I'm sure.
I'm sure he'll put a comment in, but
might have been an FKT, maybe, was it? Or was it?
Maybe it was. Yeah, maybe it was.
It's so the racing's coming back, though, isn't it?
It is, isn't it? Yeah, it is much better. And how about you, Ben? Have you got anything coming up race-wise?
So I have entered Ennerdale, which is a long Lakeland race, Lakeland Classic in June, and then I've entered Fairfield in the lakes as well. But it's just fitting it in with work. I've been working so much recently and like working on a weekend. So actually, I was supposed to. My coach wanted me to do a race a couple of weeks ago. And instead, I did like a time trial on Great Whernside. So it's a race I've done a few times before. It starts in Kettlewell, which is just down the road from me, and runs to the top of Great Whernside and then straight back down again. So it's literally up and down, same route. Okay. And it's really good because I could kind of see where I was at compared to the times when I was racing. I mean, obviously, I was slower, but it was really hard, trying to like race at that intensity, especially on your own as well, when you're not in a race environment, you've nobody else pushing you. And then you've got people just walking out for a stroll and you're kind of absolutely hammering yourself and they're thinking, what on earth is this guy doing? And I'm like almost throwing up, at the side of the fell at the end because I've really pushed myself. But then also I'd like 12 gates and styles to open and cross over. So that was another factor. Like you don't always appreciate that in a race because sometimes gates will always be open, won't they? Or there'll be somebody there to kind of make that section smoother. You can run straight through. So I was amazed at how many kind of stopping and stumbling points there were. I'm blaming that on the fact I was a bit slower, to be honest. Using that as my excuse.
Yeah. So who have we got? We got Sue has joined us, and so is Michael. So how's it going, guys? Thanks for joining us.
Hi, guys.
So we've got a question. Angel from Ohio messaged me and asked about first aid kits. So she's thinking that she's going to be doing some distances, or I don't know if she's going to do an event or if it's just in a training, but she's thinking about using a first aid kit for the first time and was asking what's going to be ideal to take with her. So we'd have a wee chat on that. I just grabbed a little first aid kit I carry a lot of the time. This is basically just a little hard case. And in this, I've got tons of different things, but I'll just grab a few bits just to let Angel see. So right off the bat, I've got a funny little torch in there. Depends on what you're doing, though, how far you're going, what sort of terrain you're going to be doing, what sort of distances. And time of year, you may not need a head torch. I've got a head torch in there. The main things that I carry in here are things like, if I can grab them, so like cleansing wipes, so alcohol wipes. So in case you've had an issue, you've cut yourself, some wound dressings. So basically just to be able to, things that are super simple. So you'd be able to clear your wound, stick a dressing on your wound. And then I've got some self-adhesive bandage as well, which is in a roll, which is a bit like sellotape or duct tape. You just wrap that around your leg or your arm or wherever, and that'll just keep the wound dressing in place. And I've also got some bits of, I don't know, Imodium, paracetamol, bits and bobs. As I say, it depends where you're going and how long you're going. And I've also got some gloves. So in case I'm with someone who's had an accident and they've got blood about them, then I can stick the gloves on to be able to help treat them. And other bits and bobs in there. But I know Ben's got some kit with him there. So what is it you carry then, Ben?
Yeah, so I mean, similar to yourself, Martin, but you've got a bit more in your first aid bag than me. But I have got a first aid kit, so that's right. Similar thing, like plasters, bandages. What else have I got in there? I'll just have a quick look because it's not been open for a while.
No, I know
how to use it. I'll tell you what I've got.
I found a tenner in mine.
Really? Gosh, yeah. There's no chance of finding a tenner in mine. I know where all my money is. I've not got enough of it. I've got some Compede. That is the key, isn't it? So that, because far too many times I've been on a long run and I've got a blister or something like that, and it's just been painful coming back. So Compede for when I need it. And then I've also got a bivy bag as well.
Okay.
So it's quite small. You can see how small it packs down, and it's really lightweight as well. So I've got that for like an emergency. And then I tend to carry, to be honest, always a spare hat, spare gloves, compass whistle. I have a gel, a bit of food, and then it's pretty much actually the same stuff as I'd carry in a race. And partly the reason for that is so I'm getting used to carrying that kind of extra weight when I'm training as well. So when it comes to racing, it's no surprise. But obviously, it's there for safety as well in case anything does happen. And then something else I've been taking recently is this little device, which is a Garmin InReach. Now, I know there are similar devices like on the market, but not perhaps that size. So basically, you can navigate with this. But most importantly, I don't know if you can see this, but it's got an SOS button on the side. So if you get into any sort of serious danger, you can open up that compartment and you can press the button. I've not done it yet. And you can phone emergency services and they'll come and like crane you off the hill or, airlift you out. I'm not pressing that yet. I'm tempted. It's just there, and I'm desperate to see what happens. Like whether I'll open the window outside my house and I'll have the emergency services just coming down, descending from a helicopter within 5 minutes. I don't know.
Breaking through your window.
Yeah, I'm desperate to see what happened, but I'm not going to use it, obviously. But what's also really good about this is that I can upload routes prior to running, and if I'm somewhere unfamiliar, I can actually follow the arrow on the front. I mean, I wouldn't use that solely for navigating, but it's quite nice if the flag's down, and you can just put something on your screen to as a secondary kind of device as opposed to a map, just to check where you are and where you need to go. So that's been really useful, to be honest. It's quite nice knowing that you've got something. And the key for this, by the way, is it's different to a mobile phone because you can get a satellite signal anywhere in the world. So you're not waiting for like a Wi-Fi signal, or you're not waiting for a phone connection. It's anywhere in the world you can kind of contact emergency services, and I can text my mum from this as well. She's in the list of contacts. I send her a message. She loves it. Like she thinks it's the best thing since sliced bread. So every time I go for a run now, she gets this like notification on her phone, so she knows where I am. She loves that, and she sends me messages while I'm running. So keeps her happy.
Is there a subscription to that?
Yeah, so there is a subscription, unfortunately. I mean, I think the device is 300 quid, which is a bit of an outlay, but once you've got it, you've got it. You can use it without a subscription, but the subscription obviously covers the text messaging and, the emergency services and things. And it comes in various different packages, so you can get like a basic package, which I think is about £20 a month, up to about £50 a month. But then also you can do like this thing where you suspend your account for a little bit if you're not using it. And then let's say, for example, I was going to go do something epic like UTMB or, as a walk or even just as a race or training or whatever. And I knew I was going to be in the sticks for sort of, a few days. I can put my subscription back on again, turn it on, and then pay the fee for that month and then just cancel it again. So it's quite good. You can dip in and out, but if you're using it all the time, it's worth it. And to be honest, a lot of the stuff I do is on my own, quite often like in remote places, and it's usually bad weather. So it's quite nice having that safety device with me at all times, really. I mean, the other week I was running home and I said to Kirsty I'd be like 2 hours and I was 3. And she just logged into my account and she could see where I was exactly, and she knew that I'd not broken a leg because she could see me moving, and she knew at what time I'd be home. So just simple things like that. I know it's quite expensive to buy and then to run.
It is initially, but then long term, that's really good.
Yeah, long term, it's brilliant. And I think if you're using it all the time and you're pretty serious about what you're doing and you value your life, because you never know when you're going to need it. Hopefully I'll never need it, and I'd rather pay £30 a month and never need it than not pay it and you know what can happen. We all know what can happen. So I mean, it came about last year from the tragic loss of Chris Smith, and the week before that I'd found somebody at the bottom of Sharp Edge in the Lake District who'd fallen face first off 100 foot off the edge of it, and I was first on the scene for that at Mountain Rescue, and he was in a bad way, and I thought, I need to make sure I've got everything I need, because prior to this, I was just going out and running with a CAG, and I wasn't carrying enough stuff. So I've learned my lesson, and I'm a changed man, definitely, but in a good way. I make sure I'm prepared now, and it's kind of made me book my ideas up. So
So Jess has put down that she'd not really thought of carrying medication in a first aid kit, and she's going to be doing the Dragon. So is that the Dragon's Back that you're doing, Jess, or is that a different race called the Dragon? So just pop your answer in down the bottom. The Dragon's Back's a huge race, but as you say, you're doing it in a relay, but I'm sure that's still going to be a great experience.
I think that'd be really good for you, that, Jess. Honestly, I have done a little review of it. You'll be able to find it on my website, so you can have a look. And it'll give you an idea of what you can do with it as well in a bit more depth. And there are other kind of models available, but I just found that the handy size of this is brilliant, and I actually quite just like running with it as well. So it's got a little carabiner, and I'll just use it in my hand and I'll run with it. It's quite nice. Yeah.
And on other hill safety stuff, I've got a video, hill safety running tips. Just search through my playlist. So if you want to know about other things to take on the hill with you, then check that one out. Go on, Ben.
Sorry, I thought that was interesting, Martin. What you did with Ian from Trail Running Scotland, where you sort of went out onto the mountain, and you basically were all dressed differently, weren't you? And you kind of showed the different levels of exposure and how quickly you can get cold when you stop. So one of you was really prepared, one was kind of semi-prepared, and one was not prepared at all. And I think even if you stop for 5 minutes, especially in Scotland, you're going to suffer, aren't you? So I think it's imperative you carry this kind of kit with you if you're going out in the serious hills, and that's anywhere in the UK really, but especially somewhere like Scotland.
Yeah, for sure. And doing these sort of things as well just sinks it into our heads as well, because it's easy for everyone to forget. As you say, you just go for a standard run carrying nothing at all.
Yeah, I've neglected it in the past. I've been really bad. And looking back now, I think I've been so reckless, because I do so much on my own, and no wonder my mum's like happy I've got this device now. Honestly, she's made up, but rightly so as well, because it could save a life, and you can see why as well.
Yeah. So Ben's joined us. How's it going, Ben?
Hi, Ben.
So we're going up and down in our listeners here. We're down to 2. We were up to more than that before. So let's move on with it. What do you want to hear, Ben? Have you got anything you want us to chat about? And what you saying, Simon? What sort of things do you take with you when you go out for a run? Do you just head out with? You must take loads of water with you, because it must just be roasting over there.
He'll just take San Miguel with him now he's in Spain.
Yeah,
that's all you need, isn't it? And an orange.
Yeah, gluten-free, eh? I'm pretty much with Ben. I mean, I really got into the habit of carrying almost a race vest full of race kit, just when you do a race, just to make sure you're dialed into being used to carrying it. On the longer runs, on the shorter runs, I still take first aid kit and various other bits. I've got a survival bag, the same as what Ben has, which I do take with me. But on shorter runs, I kind of swap that out for a blanket, just to keep the weight down a little bit, one of those silver blankets. And I've started to carry, because obviously here the water is pretty much straight from the Pyrenees. So I just take one of the reusable cups, the squishy cups that you can get. So I take a bottle with some juice inside in my race vest, but I just carry the cup, and then when you're going high, above sort of 12 or 1300 meters, you can just dive into the stream and just drink out of the stream. But yeah, I mean, when it was a couple of weeks ago, we had 30 degrees plus, and I did one of the highest peaks here, the Matagals, and that was quite hard going with the water, but it was just easy just to cup and straight into the stream with a disposable cup. But other than that, it's exactly the same as you guys.
Do you use a filter at all, or just straight out of the stream?
No, I don't need to. I bought a filter and bought it in the UK and bought it out with me. But talking where we live in Planet of Vic, it's very big farming community. And some of my friends are they either work on the farms or they're very clued up into where you can go and what you can drink and where you need to be careful of. And the animals that they have here and various other things, it's not like the UK. They're not roaming pretty much all over. They are kind of penned into certain areas. So the higher you do go, the water is pretty much crystal. And what you'll find is they build little fountains in various places. Ben, you might have come across these in your time in Spain, and it's for almost on the paths here, the GR routes and stuff, where the water will constantly be coming out like a hose, and you can just fill it. They're not mapped or anything, but they usually just crop up. It's very weird. But yeah, local advice is everything. And if I'm going somewhere that I don't know, the water filter I've got is tiny, and it's pretty expensive, but it's worth it. And I just bung that in the bag as well. But mostly it's just the cup. I mean, I'm still here and I haven't grown another head or anything like that. So, the water seems to be okay.
So Ben's asked a question on behalf of Dan. Dan's running his first 50 miler in the next couple of weeks. What would be some top tips for him? So I'd certainly say it's going to be an obvious one, but start off slower than you think you're going to need to. Just make sure you're going much slower than you think you should be going initially, because you'll thank yourself for it later on. Let's all have a back. For me,
I'll give you one tip: just eat. Yes, keep eating, and have the food just like there in your pack. Pack it well. Get your food accessible. Don't have it in the back. Have it in the front. And you just got to keep topping up. And the same goes for the drinking, doesn't it? As well, you've got to keep sipping away. If you've got a hydration pack, get the straw going, and every 10 minutes you should be just having a little sip. And same with the food, just every 20 minutes, just keep nibbling. Yeah, that's the key. Never let your energy drop.
A good friend of mine as well, many years ago, said that when I was doing my first ultra, he said basically run it like you're a diesel engine, just slow and steady, and just pace yourself, coupled with eating and drinking. And just staying focused. I think that's the answer. Slow and steady. It's not sprint. There'll be people who'll shoot off, but you'll kind of probably catch them up mid race. But slow and steady. That's what. There's a great bit of advice. The diesel engine was what I was given years ago.
You feel so much better if you've started off slow and steady and you're reeling them in later on in the race. That just builds your confidence and you enjoy it more.
Yeah.
I've had loads of times where it's not been like that. And you've just felt like crap and everyone's passing you.
I'm not sure what the terrain's like as well, but if it's, hilly or challenging, pulls all the way. We talked about it on the last call, didn't we? But pulls for me now, just anything over than 20 miles, I'm all about the pulls. Definitely. Get the leckies out.
I think he's doing the North Downs 50, I think. I could be wrong, but so there will be some hills involved.
Yeah, so, pulls all the way for me, definitely.
Yeah, for sure.
And that, with that kind of terrain, poles would be absolutely ideal because you can pretty much break them from kilometre one and just break them out from kilometre one and just use them solid with terrain of that. Yeah, definitely.
And as much practice as possible using them if it's the first time.
Yeah. There's a question for you there, Ben. You can see the questions, can't you?
Yeah, I can see the questions. I couldn't answer them on the chat, so I thought we'd come around to it. But good question, that, Michael. I mean, to be honest, you can't go wrong in the lakes. If you like the Fairfield Horseshoe, Coaldale is another good one. Coniston is a fantastic race. So, I mean, if it depends on the distance that you want, really. But there's a lot of short races and there's long races. But for me, I like the short and the medium ones. And Fairfield's a good one for me, but maybe Langdale as well. It's just on the verge of being a really long one. Is that one? But there's some cracking races in the Lake District. It really is, and maybe check out the ones in the Dales as well. if you like the really short stuff, I'd recommend looking at the Bofra series, a British Open Fell Running Association. So if you just type in Bofra into the internet, you'll get the fixture list, because they're going to start again next month, and they're really savage, straight up, straight down, really quick, really fun, great atmosphere. So yeah, I'd recommend those. And if you want something a bit more runnable, maybe try Peak District or down maybe Calder Valley Way, South Pennines. Check the fixture list as well on the fellrunner.org.uk. I know races now are starting to steadily be organised in time trial format, but there's some good ones coming up. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. What you're saying, Simon? Have you got any? What's your favourite sort of races in the UK? What have you done? What stood out for you?
I like the Lakeland Trail series, the Lakeland 50 and the Lakeland 100, and I think those routes were really nice. I mean, they've got everything. They've got the beauty of the Lake District. They've got the gnarliness of the Lake District. They've got height. They've got descent. And the Lakeland Trails races are really well organised. Obviously, you've been with me on 2 or 3 of the sky running weekends up in Scotland as well. I mean, I've done all of those, the verticals and the ultras and whatnot. And again, they were just unbelievably well organised races. And again, pretty much got everything. I mean, it's great being out here in the Pyrenees. Everything's pretty much like that, but just on a bigger scale. But the beauty of anywhere in the UK, when it's on form, you can't beat it. For the quality of the race and the organisations. I mean, the organisers that we've got for these races in the whole of the UK are so passionate, and they're 100% behind every athlete, whether you're going for an FKT or whether you're just in it just to do your first ultra or whatever. And that's the thing for me is just the absolute commitment from these organisers to make sure that all the people attending the event have a great time.
Yeah, there's a huge amount that goes into it as well, isn't it? Because we get there a few days beforehand on certain events, and just the amount of organisation of getting all the different stalls together and the safety, and it's just a hell of a lot. A lot of people rock up to do the race and don't really realise how much has gone into it. So, yeah, a lot of these races are really well organised.
Yeah, there's always sort of people helping out, isn't there, as well? Marshals and things like that. Yeah. You've got to appreciate their time as well. And they have to get up to the top of the peaks and in certain places. So they're often quite exposed. So it's mammoth, isn't it? People on car parks, registration, food. Yeah. Big operation.
If you go to an aid station as well and you take a drink or some food, it's always nice to say thank you on your departure. Just give them a heads up, because like Ben's just said, they chumped up there, giving up their own time, probably in grim weather, and standing there for 6, 7, 8 hours, dishing out food, and then they pack everything up and come back and make sure the area is tidy of all the litter and everything. So a quick nod and a quick thank you goes a long way on to those guys and girls. Yeah.
Jess has asked, so any advice on experience from multi-day races, tips for managing on limited sleep and keeping going. So I don't know how many, I've only done one multi-day race myself, and that didn't really go to plan. So I'm probably not the best person to ask for this one. Day one went great. Day 2 went okay, but not so good. Day 3 was a disaster. So we'll hand this one over to Simon, I think, probably. You must have done multi-day races, have you?
Me?
Yeah.
Not a single one. No. Believe me, you've just not sold it to me either.
I mean, it's bloody hard work. Yeah, it's getting enough sleep. What I'd say is what we said for the other stuff, getting enough. Don't go off too fast or anything. Make sure you're eating well. Oh, I had an injury. That's what scuppered it for me. I picked up yet another injury. And then by day 3, it was ridiculous. But my only thoughts on multi-day stuff has been, if I do another one, I'd like to do it and less of a racing it and more of an enjoying it, just to make sure I got the most out of it. Because it was really good fun the first day, and then it just went a bit down south when the injury kicked in. But that's because I was pushing myself a bit more. So if I just took it easy and just took in the views and everything, which a lot of the time on these races, you don't get to see the views because you got your head down. And I often think it'd be nice to go back and do a particular race and just take it easy and go, whoa, this is amazing. I think that's definitely where my head's at now. So I'd let you beat me this time, Simon.
I feel privileged, Martin. Thank you.
So what else we got here? Ben's having a laugh, saying Ben's only he's not really done any long stuff before, but he's done some shorter ultras. He's done some 50Ks, I think. So Ben is getting there, and Jess is looking forward to get back into running physio next week. So hopefully the physio goes well for you, Jess. And what else we got?
Good luck, Jess.
Yeah.
I've not done any multi-day races, but I have done a lot of multi-day adventures, I have to say, and doing them at leisure and in your own time is the best. Yeah. They're the best enjoyed. Things like doing the UTMB but at your own pace over 10 days is great.
That'd be great, wouldn't it?
Yeah, fantastic. That's all. I do loads of those kind of things, but never as a race because I want to kind of enjoy it as well. Maybe one day, but you can take your own time then, can't you?
Yeah.
And taking the sights and sounds as well. I like to take pictures as well when I'm doing these kind of things.
Yeah, there is one thing I'm kind of in the pipeline. It's not running. It's a 5-day mountain bike epic across Andorra, and that happens in August. And I'm kind of contemplating that at the moment, but I don't know because again, I've not done multi-day stuff, and I've certainly not done multi-day stuff on a bike. So I kind of don't know yet whether to. And I don't want to risk any injury because I've got a race in June. I've got a race in September after Andorra, which I really want to do in Italy. So I'm kind of in two minds. But yeah, multi-day does sound interesting. But yeah, kind of
relaxed multi-day. Yeah, that's it. With a few glasses of wine and. That's good.
Simon, just going back to carrying kit and things for training and everything. Like obviously we're really prepared and we take it seriously. But I noticed when I was racing in Spain that you don't have to carry as much kit with you when you're running. In fact, you don't have to carry anything at all, do you? I don't know if that's the same experience that you've had.
It's really strange. I mean, I know that this last race that I've done was a local race, and that they had absolutely no minimum race kit requirements at all. But I did carry a waist pack with essentials in just because you kind of always want to be in the habit. The race that I'm doing in just under a month is a Sky race, and it's a UTMB and ITRA qualifier as well. So they do have a minimum race kit. So it seems the bigger organisations are definitely still really enforcing you protect yourself on the mountain, and it will be checked. But it seems like the smaller races and you and I alluded to it earlier, Ben, about the health and safety out here is not 100%. So so I think from what you've experienced in Spain, it's the same, unless it's been organised by somebody who's got worldwide organisation like Sky and like ITRA as well. So. But yeah, I was quite surprised actually on the first race, because it is going into the mountains and you are on your own for long sections. But I had my stuff with me. Like I said, anything I forgot was skis. But I always take stuff. So. Yeah.
So Ben cycled from Guildford to Amsterdam years ago. No idea how far that is, but it sounds like an epic journey.
Yeah,
sounds
great
fantastic.
Place to finish as well. Yeah, bet you had fun at the finish line. Amsterdam's a great place. Once when I totally off running, but when I used to sort of like backpack around Europe years ago, there was one time I was sat down outside Amsterdam train station, just sat there, and I must have looked horrendous. Somebody walked past and threw some money down in front of me. I was like, yes. I can buy a pint.
Brilliant.
Nice.
And Ben's also he is doing London later this year. He's running London Marathon, and he's going to hopefully do 50 mile the next year and potentially 100K. So that's good. That's how to do it. Just build up from smaller distances and just keep going up until you really don't like it anymore.
Yeah, good luck with that, Ben. Good luck, mate.
Yeah, definitely.
Have a good run.
London will be good. Have either of you guys done big city marathons?
Yeah, I've done London before. Only as a teenager though, like in my late teens. It was before I was into running. I used to be a cyclist, and the guy that I lived with at university, he desperately wanted to do the London Marathon, and he was like, "Oh, come on, just enter with me, please. Let's do it together." So anyway, we put the entries in. I got in and he didn't, so I had to do it on my own. I didn't want to do it. And then the year after, we tried again, and the same thing happened, and I had to do it again on my own. So I didn't really enjoy it, if I'm honest. But I'd like to probably go back and do some more. I'd probably like to go to a different city, just go for the experience and kind of experience like either a new culture or just a new place. I'd quite like to go to do the New York Marathon, just because I love New York,
Yeah.
But it's a good excuse, isn't it? These city marathons, a good excuse to get somewhere a bit different. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not too keen on big city marathons myself. I've done London as well, but New York would be the one that would tempt me. That would be good, just to sightseeing views.
Yeah, you wouldn't know where to look, would you?
No.
It's just an incredible place, isn't it?
Yeah. So a bit of downhill running tips here. So I think that's you, Ben, isn't it? Jess is asking for some tips on downhill running.
Yeah, that's definitely my bag, that, Jess. Good question. So downhill running, it's all about confidence. It takes a bit of practice. In fact, actually, a lot of people do hill reps, going up and practice that. And if you're not so much or not very good at descending, it's good to do like hill reps going down as well. So practice getting used to different types of terrain as well. So knowing where you're going to get the purchase from, what's underneath your feet, and also not looking at your feet, looking further in front. So it's a little bit like I was thinking like a snooker player is always kind of 6 shots ahead of the shot that they're currently on, and that's kind of how a downhill runner is as well. He's constantly looking, or she's running and looking further in front. So you're not looking where your feet are, you're looking further down the hill. And I try wherever I can as well, wherever possible, to straight line it. So rather than sort of, going and round and about, just go as direct as possible, quick feet. Depending on the gradient, if it's kind of like this, really steep, then what you need to do is lean back a little bit and dig your heels in. But if it's more runnable, then I would tend to lean forward a little bit more. But it just really does take practice. And then I think the final thing is just finding a pair of shoes that is going to suit that terrain that you're going to be running over, and having the confidence in those shoes to, for the grip especially, for running downhill, because that obviously, if you've got confidence, you're going to go a bit faster. But yeah, it takes a bit of practice, definitely. And mix it up as well. So make sure that you try different hills, not just doing the same one all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you guys had anything to add to that.
I think you're the expert on the downhill running. Mine is just flip and go as quick as you can.
One thing I did find, actually, I was in the Lake District the other week, and I've not done much like hard downhill running for a long time. So I was coming off Scarfell Pike, right down into Wasdale, and the day after, I couldn't walk, honestly, because you're going down at such a force and such a rate that your legs just aren't used to it, unless you're doing it week in, week out. So I think if you are going to go and kind of run on that kind of terrain, and you're going to descend on that kind of terrain in a race, you need to go up and practice and get your legs used to it, because it's a different kind of impact. You're coming down on different stuff, and obviously you're coming down at such a force that it's going to really batter your legs. So you need to pace yourself if it's over a long race, but get used to that descending at pace on that terrain, definitely.
When I've done anything in the Alps, then I've made sure I've been out in the Scottish Munros and everything and just done loads of hill work beforehand just to get used to it. So it'll certainly help save your legs. Your quads are going to die.
I had actually exactly the same as you after that race, because the terrain was so wet, and because I was running a little bit tense on the downhills, and the mud was really thick, so it was sticking to your shoes, so making your shoes quite almost flat, smooth. And the next day I had exactly the same. I sort of got up and I was walking around like I was 90, bent over. Literally my thighs were just screaming, just because it was completely different. So now we're having another storm now. Now tomorrow morning I'll just go to the local hill here and just do a few loops just to get used to running downhill on the slippy stuff again, rather than the nice, warm stuff that everybody kind of associates Spain with.
Yeah. So we've got the Goku runner has joined us. That's Jeremy. He's out in Texas. He's asked, do you eat the nutrition at aid stations or bring your own? So I've done certainly both. Certainly, I often crave certain things. If I'm running a long way, I'll often crave. It sounds a bit random, but ice cream and fruit, fresh fruit and ice cream. I'd pay a fortune to get ice cream and fresh fruit when I'm out on a long run. But I'll make the most of whatever they've got at an aid station. But I'm not overly keen on loads of sweet stuff. So a lot of the times you get to an aid station, it's just jelly beans and chocolate. So I'll have some of that, but I'd rather have some real food, like a proper, like a pie or something, just something more filling. How about you guys?
Well, the rule I always think is you're best never to rely on the aid stations, because you just never know what you're going to get. It's always good and well thought out stuff, but it's not for everybody, particularly if you've got certain allergies or certain preferences. But I'm the same as you, Martin. I'll take something that's there, but I'll have my own stuff. I take salty crisps, some crisps that they're very salty, just in the bag on a long race. You know, the sweet stuff, and I've taken sausage rolls, all sorts on 100 pluses. You know, just stuff that I know that my body's going to accept. After you've been running for 7-8 hours, you want something that is going to be digestible and not something that's going to come straight back up. But the rule of thumb I was always brought up with running ultra distances is not to rely 100% on aid stations. Yeah,
exactly. It's the same. I always, no matter what the race is, I always have my own stuff, just as a backup. Or I'll have, sometimes if it's a local race and it's a long race, I'll stash stuff as well the day before. Right. I'll go down and stash it in a wall or somewhere on a peak. Obviously, I take the rubbish with me, but it saves me having to carry it up there, you see, so I can just pull a gel out of a wall or a Mars bar or, you know, whatever it is. Yeah, so that's a good little tip, you know, if it's on local territory. But I always carry my own, 100%. You never know what's going to be there, do you? If someone gets there before you and eats it all or drinks it all, you can't rely on it. If I got there before somebody, I'd be eating it all and drinking it.
Martin, your ice cream won't last in a wall either.
I know. I've been tempted to run like 2 miles out of my way just to go to a shop and just buy some actual food. It's like a chip shop or something. I just want some real food instead of rubbish, bloody sweet stuff. Jeremy's asked. Good question.
I'm going to jump the gun here and take this question, Goku.
I know which one you're going to say.
Well, I'll come on to Ben's comment later. Is he still talking about the shorts there? I'm not sure. But Goku Runner, I'm all about the twin skin shorts, like mid-length twin skin shorts. So nothing like seriously. I like them above the knee, obviously. a fair amount above the knee, but not like spray-on 80s shorts. I don't like the kind of really short shorts, but mid-length. Twin skin all the way. The best ones I've ever worn are there's 2 actually. Scott do a really good one, and Innovate do a really good one. They're the 2 best ones, and I have tested all of them, and they're the 2 best.
See, I quite like the single shorts as opposed to the twin skin shorts. Depends time of year, something a bit thicker and a bit warmer, a bit longer. But if it's summer, just something a bit shorter. Not crazy short like Simon wears of the evenings, but
you need to keep the boys in the barracks as well. Don't forget, if you're a man. You don't want Ben's comment like hanging out there, do you? You know.
so shortish.
What Ben mentioned about the Innovate shorts. For me, they're the best. I've worn them pretty much probably since they started making them. And I just go through them and like you say, they're a respectable length, and they're comfortable as well. So yeah, twin skin for me.
Bye, Jess. That's Jess away. So I don't know if she's still here, but thanks for joining us, Jess. Ben's put down can't beat a good breeze. Yeah. Very true. So what else we got? Another 10 minutes. Let's think of something else to chat about. What do you reckon? Any suggestions?
Favorite race, Martin? Favorite race?
Favorite race, CCC. Just because it's in Chamonix, and I just love Chamonix. Chamonix is amazing. So we've done that a couple of times. Went well one time and not so well the following time. Following time, I was carrying an injury when I went to it. But I'd paid for the accommodation, the flights, and you invest a lot of training and a lot of money into these races. And if something crops up beforehand, your sensible head that says, actually, you've got no chance because you're injured, that goes out the window because you think, well, I've spent X amount of money. And if nothing else, I'm going to go there, try it. And if it doesn't work, at least I've gone to a brilliant place. So, yeah, I love Chamonix, and CCC was amazing. The food was amazing. Food, I'd run that again just for the food.
Is there aid stations that, like, on the way that just give you food, or do you not have to leave your food at the aid stations? How's it work then?
No, proper aid stations which has hot food. Best aid stations, bar none. So you still obviously carry your own stuff that you're used to training with. But when you get to these aid stations, the aid stations are massive, loads of people at them, but they've got massive vats of hot soupy noodle soup, really salty, salami, they get cheeses. It's like going on a cheese and wine flipping expedition. It's fantastic. So loads of really nice food. Weather's amazing. Scenery's amazing. And yeah, the second time I did it, I did try and take in the scenery a bit more, because the first time it was head down and you just try not to trip up because the terrain's quite rocky in places. But yeah, definitely that's my favorite race. Went well once and not well another time, but it's great location. Love to do it again, maybe.
What about you, Simon?
Pretty much. I've been lucky enough to run 9 sky races across 3 categories, across ultra, extreme, and vertical. And I could name any one of them. They're all amazing. They're, across Europe and in the UK. And to be able to run with world-class athletes, obviously the only time you see them is at the start line because they're away, like. But just anything. It's Switzerland, Italy, France, Germany, here in Spain. The thing I love about racing the Sky Race, it's from a spectator point of view, they turn up in their hundreds, if not thousands, to some of the races, and with the big cowbells and egging you on and super supportive. So for me, it's the Sky the Sky Series, and I'm psyched to be running another one in 3 weeks, first one for over a year, and then I've got a really good one in Val de Buy, the Buff Epic Trail, which is the 100k, the whole week of the Buff racing and running festival, from kids right up to family races and stuff. But that's another UTMB qualifier as well. So yeah, just anything that's got Sky in front of it really is pretty cool, mate. Yeah, and altitude.
Can't argue with that. Yeah, can't argue with that.
Ben's asking some questions here on hydration packs. What's the go-to? He's going to be upgrading soon. There's so many different packs, isn't there?
Yeah, I've been testing them. Yeah.
So
there's loads out there, isn't there? I mean, for me, I've got a few actually. It depends on what kind of running you're sort of doing, because obviously if you're going to do a longer run, you need something a bit more substantial, a bit bigger for storage and carrying more food and water and supplies. But then if you're sort of racing short stuff, you want something very lightweight, don't you? I think that my favourite ones at the moment, because I've got a few packs and I do use them for different things. The first one is probably the Montane V5, Gecko V5. That's a really good pack for kind of really everything. And also Montane have just got a new one called the Ultra V, and that is incredible. It's like an actual vest that you put on. It's like a bib. So rather than it kind of just going over your shoulders here and this bit being open, this bit's covered. And that is a really good lightweight racing vest. So, I mean, for me, those two kind of cover both bases. If you want something that's really versatile, the Innovate 2-in-1 pack is really good, because you can kind of take away the bigger attachment on the back and make it into a smaller racing pack. So for me, that is a good one to get if you kind of want to buy just one pack that does everything. So that, that's probably the most versatile, I would say. And then aside from that, I really like Raid Light as well. I mean, Raid Light have always made good packs, haven't they? But those are my picks, really, to be honest.
Probably the big brands, they've all got good packs, haven't they? They all do really good kit and do loads of research into them. Ben's put down, he's thinking of a 12 to 15 litre in size. That's pretty big, Ben.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll tell you what, another thing, I'm just going off on tangent now. I've been using an OM pack, and OM are bringing out a waterproof backpack, which I find interesting, like a race pack. And when you think about it, like there is no other pack out there, is there, that's waterproof? Mm-hmm. You know, when I carry stuff and I know it's going to be raining, I put it in I put my spare kit in a plastic bag. Yeah, and you don't need to with this pack. So that's a really good one. I've only just got it and I'm just testing it at the moment, but watch out for that one because I think that's a great idea. It's basically a dry pack on the back of a race vest. It's really good. So that's the OM. Okay.
And how's that going to work with zips and such like? Because zips are never waterproof, are they?
No, they're not. So there are no zips on the outside of it. So it rolls up at the top like you would do a dry bag. And then obviously you've got your pockets and things on the front and you can put stuff in the back to stash. Yeah, it's a great pack.
Okay, that's good. Ben's liking the sound of the Innovate packs. Innovate do really good running stuff, from clothing to footwear to packs. They just do super stuff.
Yeah, I mean,
direction as well. You do some great race vests as well. They've got a really nice ultimate direction. They've got a really nice harness system as well. Yeah.
Yeah, very good. I've got two or three ultimate direction vests. You can never have enough running vests.
No, you can't. I agree. I've actually got a few that are different colours for whatever I'm wearing. I know that sounds really fancy. It's just who I am. Don't hate the player, hate the
game. Do you actually think what am I going to wear to match what?
100%. Yeah, 100%. So, for example, what I'm wearing right now, if I was going for a run right now, you ready?
Yeah. Right.
It's all about the blue, isn't it? Look, I mean, look at that. How's that for kind of like matching?
Yeah,
you know?
It's not bad.
I'm always on point. Yeah. I was born ready. But Ben, if you want to drop me a message, mate, after this, I can definitely recommend some. But I'd go for the 2-in-1. I think it's just more versatile. But then there is another good Innovate pack that's a bit bigger.
Is that the Adventure?
Yeah, I wear this one for.
I love that one.
Yeah, it's really good. This is for more like ultra stuff, and you can get plenty down here as well. And there's loads of space inside, and then obviously you've got the stash pockets at the side as well. They're comfy as well.
But it's still super comfy to run in.
Yeah, it is. It's more like you say, a day pack, isn't it?
Yeah,
but really, really comfy. But if you want a good race one, I'd go for the 2-in-1.
Okay, thanks for joining us, Jeremy. Okay, cheers now.
Cheers. You know it, Ben. You know it. You know me too well.
Well, that's us pretty much about an hour, and most folk have nipped off. So I think we'll probably call it about there. So thanks everyone for joining us.
Thank you.
That's been cheers, good, guys. Good to catch up. Thanks for the questions as well.
Yeah. Oh, here we go. It's another one from Michael. Let's hang on for this one. Water bottle or bladders? I'm definitely bottles over bladders.
Same.
Bottles.
Bottles all the way. You don't know if you got a bladder in the back. I remember I was running the Highland Fling one year, and I left an aid station thinking I still had loads of water. I didn't check for some reason, but it will probably be because I had to stop, take my pack off, check the bladder. And I just assumed it felt pretty full still. So I ran off from the aid station, not far off after that. I finished my water. So because I didn't realize I didn't have my bladder was near and empty. So I've always preferred since then to have bottles at the front because you can physically see how much water's in them. And they're super quick and easy to just take out, unscrew the lid and fill it up. You don't have to stop, take your pack off, grab the bladder. It's just a lot more faff, I find, with the bladder. So I'm much more comfortable with a bottle. Bottles for me, and bottles for both of you by the sound of it.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. And like Simon said as well, those tiny little plastic cups that you can kind of crush down are brilliant. Just for if you're coming to a stream, you can just take a quick sip. Or actually, what they do in Spain now, don't they, Simon? Is they make you carry one of those and you fill it up at the aid stations. And if you don't have one, you can't fill up. So that's what they say now.
People use stuff now, which is pretty good. You just go in and dip your own stuff in. So yeah, it's the way forward.
And in your bottles, what do you like to carry? Do you have like isotonic stuff in both or in one?
I'd take isotonic stuff in both.
Do you? Right. Okay.
I have one water, one Mountain Fuel.
I'll have one of each, because if I've got both full of a isotonic type drink, I sometimes get a bit fed up with the taste, and I just want a cleansing water drink to. So yeah.
I'm with you, Martin.
Yeah, spot on. Cool. Okie doke. Right. Let's call it a day there, chaps.
Good stuff, fellas.
Thanks everyone for the questions coming along. Brilliant. Thanks again, and we'll catch you next time.
Cheers.
See you later. See you guys. Cheers.
Right, hold on. We've got 6 more seconds, and we're bang on an hour.
Riding it out.
Right, here we go. 1. Goodbye.